We're not seeing any layoffs. We're not seeing businesses cut investment at this point. Consumers are very worried about what's going on in the price increases that are coming. People are very uncertain, unsure, and this back and forth on tariffs just adding to that confusion and chaos and making people nervous.
Here's a statement from a CEO today. Adding American manufacturing helps us better meet the incredible and growing demand for AI chips and supercomputers, strengthens our supply chain, and boosts our resiliency.
You're talking about Nvidia.
The CEO of Nvidia.
The manufacturing policy behind bringing chips to the United States originated in the Biden administration.
Correct.
And Trump is taking advantage of some of that now.
Chaos and pain is what the American people are feeling. If you are someone who is a working person in this country, you're being told, I know you elected me because of inflation. Hold on a little longer.
Watch Scott Jennings expose Mark Zandi, who is a chief economist for Moody. He gives a point about the economy, and Scott Jennings exposes the stark contradiction that he puts out about the economy. Later on, Abby Phillips is going to irrationally chime in with an answer that makes no sense. But this is a good one. Let's stay tuned and watch it through. Make sure you like and subscribe.
It's up, down, all around. Which country, which product, over what period of time. I mean, it's creating a lot of havoc, chaos. I think businesses are shell-shocked, panicked by this. They don't know what to do. They're sitting on the. I don't think anyone's cutting back yet. I don't think we're not seeing any layoffs. We're not seeing businesses cut investment at this point, but they're sitting on their hands, just waiting to see how this all plays out, if it will play out, over some period of time. And it's causing a lot of consternation among consumers. You can see it in consumer sentiment. Consumers are very worried about what's going on in the price increases that are coming. And obviously investors are, beside themselves. You can see it in the equity market, but particularly in the bond market. So far, the damage is in just the kind of the general sense of things. People are very uncertain, unsure, and this back and forth on tariffs just adding to that confusion and chaos and making people nervous. Why would any company locate and expand in the United States of America if they don't know what the tariffs are going to be? I mean, just pretend you're a CEO of a major global manufacturing firm, a vehicle company, and thinking about building a factory. It takes 3 years to build a factory to start producing cars. To determine whether you're going to make that investment, you have to know what the tariffs are, because these are big tariffs. These aren't small tariffs. This isn't 1%, 2%, 5%. This is 25%, 30%, 35%. And so you need to have some clarity on that. But how can you get clarity? These tariffs are done under executive order. They can be changed with the stroke of a pen, and they may not even be legal. So they can be struck down 18 months from now. So if I'm that CEO and I'm thinking, should I build that factory? How can I possibly make that investment? And they won't. They just won't make that investment.
Here's a statement from a CEO today. Adding American manufacturing helps us better meet the incredible and growing demand for AI chips and supercomputers, strengthens our supply chain, and boosts our resiliency.
You're talking about Nvidia.
The CEO of Nvidia.
Yeah, but Scott,
how did they make that announcement
today? Scott, CEOs are going to make. Why wouldn't you make that announcement? Why wouldn't you make?
You just said they won't. No, I'm saying they did.
Why they would do it anyway? They would do it anyway. And in many cases, they make the announcements and they don't. Foxconn's a great example of that. Go back to President Trump's first term. There was this big $10 billion investment that was supposed to happen in the state of Wisconsin. Go take a look at what was invested.
Nvidia's going to make this chip in Arizona.
But why wouldn't you say that?
They say it's good for business to be in the United States because it's good for their supply chains and
just
so
think
on
about
and so
this
forth.
logically. Think about for the intuition.
I just want to also make a note that the manufacturing policy behind bringing chips to the United States originated in the Biden administration.
Correct.
And Trump is taking advantage of some of that now. But the other part of the Nvidia announcement and that statement, and a lot of what we're seeing, is what a lot of people are warning is going to happen if everybody gets exemptions, if they can just say nice things about the guy in charge in the White House. This is what Fareed Zakaria says is coming.
These left-leaning pundits are absolutely ridiculous. So economist Mark Zandi first says that this is going to have drastic results on individuals, companies trying to start businesses in America because they just don't know what's going to happen. And then on the next foot, you have CEOs of different companies saying that they believe that this tariffs situation is going to have incredibly beneficial results on American business and American economy. And then Mark Zandi goes at Scott and says, well, why would he say such a thing? Of course he says such a thing. And then Scott says, what are you talking about? You just said none of them would ever do this or say this. This is absolutely ridiculous. These left-leaning pundits are insane. So let's finish up on what's being said here and listen in. If you're enjoying this, please make sure you like and please make sure you subscribe.
These tariff negotiations will inevitably result in an orgy of corruption. The American economy is being transformed from the leading free market in the world to the leading example of crony capitalism. A market economy functions best when there are limited constraints placed on it, but especially when these constraints are clear, fair, and applicable to all.
That is exactly the opposite. Fair, clear, and applicable to all. That is the opposite of what is happening every day.
And so here's a couple of things, right? Chaos and pain is what the American people are feeling. If you are someone who is a working person in this country, you're being told, I know you elected me because of inflation. Hold on a little longer. I need you to just take maybe another year or two. That is a betrayal of the people who elected him. And what's interesting, if we look at that CBS News poll,
which we
probably have, his approval ratings on handling the economy going down. And the two top people that, just to what Fareed just said, Americans believe benefit the most, 74% the wealthy, 71% large corporations. Now, whether it's Nvidia or whatever corporation, the point is he's losing the confidence of the American people. I think we're seeing that not only in the polls, but in the turnout at events where people are expressing their frustration. You have a lot of small business owners who also are very anxious.
Part of what the problem I have with the conversation is we're talking as if this is a fait accompli. We're talking as if it's done, the tariffs are permanent, recession is here, it's all over, doom and gloom. As Warren Buffett famously said, it's only a loss when you sell. I can tell you, Abby, I have not sold. I'm telling our advisors to stay the course. The game's not over yet.
Can I just say, though, we're right on the edge here. I mean, another 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of this, and we're going into recession because businesses aren't going to sit on their hands forever, and they're going to decide, I am going to cut, and I am going to start to lay off. And at the end of the day, a recession is a loss of faith, and people are losing faith.
Yeah, so you have Abby Phillips chime in and talk about how when it comes to trade in the economy, business needs to be done clean, fair, and applicable to all. And she's saying that these tariffs are not doing that, which is absolutely wrong, and she gives no explanation. These tariffs are exactly for that reason, because countries have been taking advantage of America not doing things clear, fair, and applicable to all. Okay, they've been taking advantage of us and all of us, for example. And this gentleman, Mark Zandi, shows to not understand tariffs with his contradictory statements. Scott beautifully in this interview clears everything up, as well as the other gentleman here in the suit with glasses also lets everyone knows it's not a loss unless you sold. And at the end of the day, with Mark Zandi's argument saying in the next couple of weeks or months, we're going to be in a recession. But then he also admits that nothing negative has actually been put into play yet. No tariffs have been put into play yet. But somehow, with no tariffs being put into play, we're going to enter a recession. It's an absolute lie and it's illogical. I hope you like this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you on the next video.